Real estate is one of the simplest ways to build long-term wealth, and one of the easiest ways to get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing. So this show, it exists for one main reason: clarity. Me and Keith, we're talking deals, markets, financing, flips, all of it, but always through the lens of what's working, what isn't working, and why. I'm your host, Dayton Lindsey, and I promise you that this podcast is going to help you save time, money, and you from painful lessons. So, let's get into this. All right. Keith, my man.
Welcome back.
You've been away on holidays for a little bit, and I haven't been able to ask you questions, and it made me really sad.
Oh, no. That's okay.
I know.
I think it's okay anyway. Let's make up for it.
That's it. Can't be friends anymore. Sorry. All right. So
let's see if we can answer one extra question.
One extra question? Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to go through these quick then. So everyone's pulling the same tax delinquent lists, driving the same neighborhoods, and sending to the same mailers. At what point does a lead source just die from overuse? And how do investors find the next one before everyone else does?
What a good question, dude. So the answer, that's a hard answer, because people do, especially when you're buying lists from a big list broker. So there's these huge list brokers like US Lead List or Foreclosures Daily. And there's even worse ones that are like mass produced online through, Batch or PropStream or things like this. Those get hounded. Cold calls, texts, ringless voicemails, direct mail, just so much. You're in a flood of other investors all competing for this one seller's attention. That said, I don't think any list will ever be exhausted. Here's the reason. New people are always going to not pay their taxes. New people are always going to be divorced. New people are always going into pre-foreclosure. People are constantly dying. People are constantly getting tired of being a landlord or getting, not getting paid. People are constantly going bankrupt. They're constantly moving, right? So all of these lists are constantly getting a refresh. And I have friends who have dedicated their life just to one list. Like I have two friends,
Really?
the only thing that they do, and the only thing that they have done for the last 20 plus years, maybe even 30 plus years, but one of them is tax delinquent. I have another friend, the only thing that he does is probate. Like these people have just hyper focused and are so good. They're so specialized on these lists. They know everything there is to know about probate. They know everything there is to know about tax delinquent. So I like that. And it's always a fresh list, right? If you're constantly pulling this every week, every month, you're going to get to new people and you're going to get to them quicker. So that said, I don't think the answer to the question really should be these leads are never going to die. The lists are never going to die because the leads are constantly being refreshed. Instead, I would ask, how do I set myself apart from all of the other screaming, all the other static that's in these folks' life? Because think about this, all the people that we're trying to get in touch with, people who are going through pre-foreclosure.
I'm going to come home and it's going to come like 2 minutes or 3 minutes after.
Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. Got to get the walkies when the kids are out on spring break,
Roger that, good buddy. Over and out.
That's right. So people who are trying to help, they're, going into foreclosure. They're getting divorced. They've inherited a house. They have a health concern or a safety issue. There's domestic violence involved, or they have, they recently got news that they have cancer. and they need to go into a home and get treatments, or they have dementia, or their tenant is destroying their house and is not paying, and they don't want to go through the eviction process, so on and so forth. Like, these people have been dealt with a very tough hand of cards at this season of their life, and even without you screaming at them, they have enough other people hounding them for their attention. It's very difficult to cut through the noise and be heard. And so this is what I'm about to advise is really hard to do, but the most effective way of doing this, number one, is going to be different platforms. So we call these mediums in marketing, right? If you can send them a letter and call them and text them, that's going to get you in touch with more people. Obviously, you cannot do this if you have a huge list of 20, 30,000 people, unless you have a massive marketing budget. We're usually talking about fairly niche lists that are just in the hundreds or the small, 1,000, 1,200, 2,500, that sort of thing. You can do multiple mediums. And then the second is be really good at getting back to people quickly. They will typically give you one shot. Everybody else is talking to them as well, right? So they're going to contact all the people who are calling them and texting them and emailing them and sending them direct mail and everything. They'll call each person one time with the idea of like, hey, there's 15 people who say that they can help me. I got options, man. Like, I'm just going to talk to whoever picks up first. Thing is, most real estate investors kind of suck at getting back to folks. So be the person that picks up the phone when it rings. If you miss it, be the one that calls them back in 30 to 60 seconds. Because that person's attention span is way smaller than a goldfish, right? You're competing with everybody, and they have a lot of stress going on in their life. So you have to stand out amongst the crowd. First, you have to become noticed. How do you become noticed? Multiple mediums. Once you're noticed, how do you get them to convert? Because that's all sales is, right? First, we get attention, then we keep attention, then we convert attention. It's a three-step process between marketing and sales. It's the same exact platform. It's the same exact process, no matter where you are. First, we get attention, multiple mediums. Now we keep attention. How do we do that? Writing good copy in your letter, having a good voicemail. When you don't be a schmuck and say, hey, this is Keith, I'm calling you about your house, give me a call back. Done. Your direct mail needs to be well thought out. And multi-touch is another thing. So don't just send one letter. Don't just call them one time and leave one voicemail. Don't just send them one text message. You have to be persistent with this. And then how do you convert them? By being responsive. When they actually do give you the time of day, you better be there for them. That's how you get these lists to convert.
Most investors are thinking about marketing as a one-shot thing. They send a piece of mail, they're waiting for a call. How should investors be thinking about follow-up, and how many touches does it actually take before a not interested becomes a closed deal?
There's a very recent study. I don't know who put it on. It's either Harvard Business Review or who is the research company that puts a dollar bill in the mail to effectively bribe you to fill out their survey?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Nielsen. Nielsen is a research company. Amazing research. Like the most primary research company in the United States is Nielsen. So again, I'm not sure if this is a Nielsen study or a Harvard Business study, but regardless, it's amazing. And it is 7-11-4. 7 hours across 4 mediums 11 times. That sounds right. let's see if I plug that in, if I can bring up the article that this comes up for.
7 hours across 4 different mediums 11 times.
Yeah, a consumer, here it is.
Hmm.
A consumer needs 7 hours of engagement across 11 touch points in 4 separate locations. This
Okay.
was a study done by Google. Google did this study. My God.
Whoa.
So if you want like very purpose-based, data-driven, Google has access to all. This is a rule that was put in place by Google. It was done last year. 2 years ago, March of 2024. Looks like. And it's you have to have 7 hours of engagement across 11 touch points in 4 separate locations. And so what that may mean is you send them a direct mail. That letter has a QR code that they scan and go to your website. That website has a cookie. You attach a cookie there. Now you retarget them on Facebook. Then you send them a message on Facebook, or you get them into a Facebook group, or Facebook sends them to a YouTube channel, and you call them, you text them, you email them. In some way, you get a little bit closer to them. Calling, texting, and email are obviously the best mediums to do that with. But that would be an example of how do you get 7 hours of engagement? Typically, it's going to be talking, or if you don't have to do this time manually, that's like way better. If they're able to consume some content that you have on social media, it doesn't have to be like a video, right? It could be reading or a blog or an about us or time spent on your website or reading your direct mail. That all counts towards your engagement. 11 touch points means don't just send one letter and pray that it works. You need to send 5 letters. You don't need to just call them one time. You need to call them 20 times. Don't just text them one time. Send them 30 text messages. Don't just email them one time. Put them on a 25 email sequence. This is how you get enough touch points, because at the end of the day, dude, what Google is talking about, 11 touch points, that's not 11 attempts. That's a touch point. I've touched you. You have opened up my email. You have read my text message. You have listened to my ringless voicemail or regular voicemail. You have whatever it is. That's a true touch point, not the fact that you just sent it. Just because you left a voicemail doesn't mean
touch point is more interaction based.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it means. And then 4 separate locations, that's talking about marketing mediums: text, phone call, website, social media, email, things like this.
What are your thoughts on the efficiency of each medium? I know, like, when you say texting, I think of when I get texting message, I'm like, oh man, I just don't want to respond to it at any point. But I'm more willing to open up my email as opposed to text. So I was curious on what your thoughts were on each different medium and their effectiveness.
So I think that there are generational differences, and I also think that there are pipeline nuances. Here's what I mean by generational differences. There are some folks who don't respond at all to text messages, and they do open up their email and they clear out their email. There are some generations that are the opposite, right? You and I, well, you're more of an email marketer, right? So you're like, obviously,
I'm also
astute, I think it's the right word.
Yeah, so but I'm also like I'm also the very I'm gonna call it first generation of Gen Z, like, because Gen Z is defined as, I think, early 2000s to 2008 or whatever. Quick aside, if you're getting value out of this, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below with what you want Keith and me to cover next. It helps the channel out a lot, and it tells us what you want to learn about. Anyways, back to the video. And I was born 2001, so I'm like early generation. And for receiving marketing, like when I receive random texts, I'm like, I instantly think it's a scam coming my way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm never clicking a link from a
No way.
text
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
message that I'm
But some
getting.
people
So
do, bro. Like a lot of people do. That's how
like
people get scammed.
that's so foreign to
Um,
me. I'm like, nah, this is way too scam. And then I'll read it. And it's like it's the
so let
most
me ask you
vaguest
this,
thing
right?
ever.
Because do you have a voicemail that if somebody leaves you a voicemail, if I were to call you, well, not me because you have me saved in your phone, but if
Yeah.
somebody who is not saved in your phone leaves a voicemail, do you listen to it?
Oh, absolutely, I do. It's like it's the barrier to check if I want to deal with this person or not,
So
and that's
you
what
and
email
I,
is way more better for me, anyways. It's like the
yeah,
barrier:
yeah.
do I want to interact with them?
Here's the thing though, you and I are the anomaly. Most times when I ask that question, a lot of times people have responded back, Keith, I don't even have my email set up. When I got my new phone, I
Really?
just chose not to set up my email. Yeah. They're like, yeah, if you leave me a voicemail, I never listen to it. Dude, I listen to every voicemail. That's what determines whether or not I'm going to call you back. Genuinely.
Hmm.
That's it. Did you leave me a voicemail? Did you send me a text message after you call me? Because I'm not going to pick up the phone. If I don't have your number saved in my phone, I do not pick up, no matter what.
Yep.
Unless your caller ID comes through, because I do pay for a subscription where it gives you a caller ID. And it's called Truecaller. So Truecaller, paid service, where even if my Android phone doesn't show the name of the person, it's not saved, and my carrier AT&T doesn't know who the business is, Truecaller sometimes is able to pick that out. And so like if it's my doctor calling, for example, I don't have his phone number, but it'll say like Orlando, whatever the clinic is, right? So then I'll pick up. But here's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. It's like there's some people like us, man, we're like set in our ways this way, but then there's also people that are the opposite. And so I don't think that there is like a tried and true universal all humans act this way. No way.
Oh, wouldn't that be boring?
I think that everybody is different generationally. But then let me also say this. You and I, we don't open up text messages because I have the same, like, I revolt against it. I don't even read them. I will open them and then immediately back out just so that they're read because I can't stand
Yep.
leaving things unread. So here's the thing, though. If I were to sign up for somebody's coaching program or something, right? So I just signed up for a social media one, for example. And that's why we had to bump back this recording session, right? So if
Yep.
he had texted me saying, hey, this social media thing, our call is happening in 1 hour. Here's the link to join. I'd been like, dope, dude, thanks for the hookup. I appreciate you sending that to me. Am I going to open it? Yes. Am I going to appreciate it? Yes. Am I going to get the warm and fuzzies? Yes. Am I going to use the link in that text message? Yes. Why? How can we just so easily flip? Well, it's because I'm further down the pipeline. I've now signed up for this thing. Even though it's free, doesn't matter. I want it. Whereas things that are in my email, totally cold. Somebody Facebook messaged me about an hour ago. I had a meeting with a gentleman. He owns a PPL company and he wants REI Automated to sponsor them. Well, I don't know if REI Automated is going to sponsor them. We had a good conversation. But it was like, this was totally cold. It's not really, I'm not desirous of doing this. I don't really know who you are or how good you are. I've never really heard of you before. But that was the appropriate way for him to contact me, was through Facebook Messenger rather than text messaging. He's not close. He's not close enough to me to send me a text message and have me feel that sort of way. Whereas, let me give you the opposite. I have clients in REI Automated. And I just reprimanded one of them actually for sending me a Facebook message.
Okay.
Don't send me a Facebook message. Dude, I will have 130 messages today. I'm going to overlook it. Like, I'm fearful. Like, you're paying me money for me to coach you. And you have a problem, you have a question. I want to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Text me. Call me. My God, don't send me a Facebook message. Because they're at a different stage of the pipeline. And so be cognizant of those two things. Number one, that there's generational divides. Some people prefer this, some people prefer that. But even Even that said, there's also pipeline nuances of, as you get closer to them in proximity, you can get closer to them in your communication style as well. No, I wouldn't start off with a text message. That's like, you can't actually. TCPA compliance. I was another one of my calls today was with our TCPA attorney. You cannot just like mass blast text messages or ringless voicemails. If they didn't opt in, no way. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen. You're just waiting to, get the wrong person, they're going to sue you, and you're going to have to settle it or cough it up, right? So making sure that they actually want that. Once they want it, of course they're going to opt in. Once they opt in, now they're going to use it.
Well said. So earlier in the conversation, you talked about divorces and sort of probate records, and I'm forgetting the other thing at the moment, but it was in terms of finding qualified leads, essentially, and then you have experts in probates. So my question is, divorce filings, probate records, obituaries, utility shutoffs, some of these can be considered dark places to go to find motivated sellers. So my question is, where do you draw the line, the ethical line, between being resourceful and being predatory?
I do not think that this is an ethics thing. I think that it's going to come down to a personality thing. And I'll die on this hill. I do not think that it is unethical for you to contact somebody who inherited their deceased mother's house last week. The vast majority of people do not know what to do. They did not leave their family with a, like, I'm crazy. Okay, let's just get one thing on the books.
I am like mentally ill and unwell. That's
I literally have a red binder for my wife. In the event that I pass, she is to go to the safe and get the red binder. It's the open when I'm dead. And it has all the instructions to everything.
Damn, you're still getting people to follow SOPs in the afterlife. My God, man.
Yeah, even in death. Yes. Here's the information for the insurance. Here's the information for the trust. Here's the information for the kids' benefits. Here's the information for the spousal benefits. Here's the properties. Here's the property management companies, right? Everything is organized. Here's the hierarchy of the business. Here's what you're going to do with the businesses. Here's the information to our attorney who's going to walk you through the process. Everything is outlined. And yes, you have to keep this up to date. Every single year we go through an audit with our attorney and make sure that we're up to date with our family planning and stuff. However, dude, I'm in like the 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of people who is like totally anal retentive that actually plans to die.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I know what you mean. My parents just a couple weeks ago asked me to be the what's
executor.
It called? Executor. Yep. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's very rare for some people to plan for that.
I'm
lucky enough that I've seen people in my life that are actually planning for it. But I do know people that are like, nah, I'll just go out in the backwoods and with my
dude. That's the majority of people, and I witnessed this in my own family when my dad died, and nothing. He was young, right? He was 55 years old when he passed, roughly 53, I think. He didn't expect to die. My mom didn't expect him to die, but the weight of the world was on her shoulders when he passed, and she was ready for precisely none of it. She didn't even know about many of the things that were to come and unfold over the next 12 to 18 months. So I don't think there's anything ethically wrong as long as you have good intentions, right? If you have pure intentions of helping people, I'll die on this hill. if you have intentions of ripping somebody off, not providing value, making the absolute most that you possibly can at anybody else's demise, I think that we can just draw the line there. And it's like whether they died this year or last year or 10 years ago, that is effort wrong. However, I will tell you that back in 2016 through 2018, I think that's the right timeline. I was doing very heavy local probate lists. And what I did is the court where I lived in Stafford, Virginia. And what I did is I would subscribe to the online county records for like Stafford and Fredericksburg and then going up to like Woodbridge. This is all in the DMV area near Washington, D.C. And so I had subscribed to all these different counties and I could go and pull online court records. And so as soon as every Friday we do this. As soon as somebody died, it was put in there. And then we would go and we would find, do they have real estate attached to their estate? And if so, direct mail is going out immediately over the weekend. By Monday, they've opened it. And that idea that I sent, earlier where like the direct mail had the QR code, then they would go to the website and I had a cookie, a retargeting pixel on Facebook and YouTube. So now that they've been to my website, now I can retarget them. And if they at any point in time filled out the form, which they had to in order to get to there, I had their email. Now we're also sending them emails and automated text messages as well. They have to opt in. Now we're in a little bit of a different age, little disclaimer there. But multiple mediums. And dude, I was targeting people when their family didn't even know. They didn't even know that their Uncle Ed had passed. And so I got some nasty things said to me, both on the phone as well as people writing me letters, because it was direct mail that I was doing at the time, right? They would write me back and they would say disgusting things to me, calling me names and all this stuff. Or they would just they would return my mail and they would have a note on the outside of the envelope, or they would put my envelope inside a new envelope. Hate mail. I got hate mail all the time, bro. And I decided that's not for me. I don't think there's anything ethically wrong with this. I just wanted to talk to people who wanted to talk to me, right? That's actually literally a slogan of REI Automated. I only talk to people who want to talk to me. And so the fact that people were like kind of repulsed of talking to me was a little bit of a turnoff. Now, if you have a virtual assistant doing it and you want to save your energy and by having another person doing it, who has super thick skin or they don't really care because it's just part of the job, by all means. Again, as long as you have pure intentions, I think that it's good. And I think that a lot of people need help because most people don't plan to die.
No, not at all.
Otherwise, I think that there's other ways of getting leads where you don't have to wade through the muck.
There's a lot of lessons to be learned from that for both the marketing aspect and just personal reasons. I'm going to interject here with some of my own philosophy that I follow a lot of the Stoic teachings like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca. And I think it was Seneca that said it takes a lifetime to prepare to die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of earlier on, if you're not thinking about it, you're pretty much at a disadvantage because you're not setting the people you care up for success after you're gone, because frankly, that's the worst time to be making decisions for a lot of people is when someone passes away. So you need to be more proactive and set that stuff up. But like you said, most people aren't thinking about that. So for anyone watching, start thinking about how you're going to die.
I will put you in contact with the attorney that will set up all of this stuff. It is really not expensive to create a trust. It's a couple $100. Depends if you have a whole bunch of assets, then it could be a couple $1,000. But largely, most people can be a couple $100. I'd love you to put you in touch with my attorney. I will literally personally do it. Send me an email, keith@reautomated.io, and I will put you in contact with.
Is that a more private trust, or is that more government trust? What you're suggesting?
I don't even know what you're talking about. That's Canadian speak. We don't have.
Okay, it might be just Canadian then. So That might just be a Canadian thing.
Government trust is like that's an anti-American. That's an oxymoron. We do not believe in government trusts. You should not trust the government. I can say that.
Okay.
So everything within a trust is going to be kept under lock and key or handed to an attorney to execute in your passing.
Very good. Well, Keith, I think we're going to wrap it up there for this one. I know you said we were going to work in another question. We usually do 3, but I think that's a good conversation to leave off on this one.
I agree. Guys, if you have questions, throw it in the channel, throw it in the chat. However you're seeing this, find a way. Even if it's just sending me a Facebook message. I don't really care. But especially on
You'll get to
on
it
YouTube,
eventually.
Put it in the comments. If you have a question. Yeah. We really will. Like probably within a week, we will have an episode answering your questions. I appreciate any of you who have
between 7 and 10
submitted
business
them.
days, you will get a response back.
There you go. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys. Real estate isn't magic. It's a skill. And the people who win long term are the ones that keep stacking the reps. That means learning, analyzing, staying patient, and making good decisions. If you want to keep building that skill with us, make sure to subscribe and send this to someone who needs to hear it, because I know you know someone that needs to. Anyways, that's all for today. Take care.